as government, as community members, as ministries and things like that. So this panel is actually inspired by the discussion you are having in the group work. And also the fact that in every initiative that we do, either as policy actors, we all need each other, and we also need to see the role of civil society, in particular government initiatives, in particular continental initiative economic bodies. So in this regard, I would like to invite my panelists to the podium. I'll start with the Honorable is not yet in the room, but when he comes, we will certainly have him join us. We have Madam Suena Flomo. If you're in the room, kindly join us. Please feel free to take a position on the seats. Mr. Charles B. Vandy, Director of Gender Affairs, the Ministry of Gender and Children Affairs, Sierra Leone. Okay. Yes, Nicholas wants us to ensure that we appreciate our panelists as they come forward. So let's have some appreciation for Dr. Charles. We also forgot to appreciate our sister, Madam Suena. Okay, and then the next one we do have is Madam Lorato Paleso. She's a gender analyst with AUCF. I had Nicholas say he was not sure what to call AUCF, but I know Madam Loretta will do a very good job in terms of introducing AUCF to those of us who don't know. But it's certainly a very good continent. And then we have we have one of our panelists joining virtually, Dr. Musa. I like calling him Musa because he has quite a very interesting name, but he's Dr. Musa Ngana. WT, wave to the crowd, to the audience. Thank you, Musa, for joining. So also will be sharing with us the opportunities for engagement with the AU ECOSOC. For those of you who are learning about the AU ECOSOC for the first time, Musa will ensure that we all know what it does and how we can be engaged in that particular body. So we are missing Honorable, but for purposes of time, we will, as soon as he enters the room, we'll definitely give him the opportunity to walk over and sit with us. All right. Also, just I need to clarify that in this particular session, we really want to not just identify the opportunities for engagement for civil society, but we also want to know what the ministries are doing, what the African Union is doing with respect to ensuring that issues to do with adolescent sexual reproductive health are addressed, either through policy work, either through programming, or any other initiatives, even campaigns that are there, that are ongoing or that have been paged. So, turning on to my I would like to, Honorable, thank you, welcome. Yes, please feel free to take your seat. And we felt we couldn't start without you. Yeah. Are you settled now? Yes. Okay, great. Oh yeah, he's going to need our technicians are certainly sorting that out. At the same time, I would like you to project Honorable Elgera's presentation to the screen. Our technicians, as our technician sorts that out, he is our first speaker. Yeah. Honorable, don't worry, you are actually the first person to come and speak, so you may take the podium. Okay. Yes, sure. Thank you so much. And Honorable will be letting us know of the opportunities that the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of Children has been doing with respect to adolescent sexual reproductive health. I think you've seen how passionate he is when he's addressing sexuality issues in the continent. So it's his moment now to tell us what he is doing for the rest of us in Africa. Over to you, Honorable.
have the presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Merci de m'avoir donné l'opportunité de participer à cet atelier assez important sur la santé de la reproduction, droits sexuels et reproductifs. Donc, on va vous faire l'économie de l'expérience des comités des experts sur les droits et bien-être de l'enfant. Donc, je suis le rapporteur sur la santé et le bien-être. Donc, sans tarder, si les techniques sont prêts, je vais commencer à exposer, s'il vous plaît. Diapo.
It is there. It is there.
What's his name? Nicolas.
Honorable Chair. Okay, let me find it. Honorable, I'm told that he's searching for your presentation in the list of the presentations we have. So in the meantime, as we try to find your presentation, you have it?
I have my phone, yes.
Okay. He has it. He has it. He needs to identify it.
Nicolas, I give you my presentation. What is it? It's not, they have it in the computer.
And still have you go next,
Yes.
in case as you prepare, right? Yeah. You lose your phone, or there you go. It's up there now. Please pick from the start. There you go. Honorable, it's on your screen. So you may guide the person handling your presentation on when to move to the next slide. Thank you, Nova.
OK, merci. Donc, comme je l'ai dit tantôt, nous allons essayer de vous donner l'expérience du comité des experts sur le droit et bien-être de l'enfant, à cet atelier régional sur les droits sexuels et reproductifs et la santé des adolescents. Diapo. Donc, on va vous donner la présentation de la communication. On aura une introduction. On aura les instruments nationaux et internationaux pour la promotion des droits de la santé reproductive et droits sexuels et reproductifs. On va voir ce que le comité a fait comme activité pour promouvoir la santé des adolescents. On va voir quels sont les progrès vers la mise en œuvre d'une Afrique digne des enfants. On a l'agenda 2040 que le comité a élaboré en 2016 avec des aspirations assez importantes pour connaître l'Afrique où on a des enfants dignes qui peuvent vivre honnêtement, tranquillement. Et on va voir en dernier quelles sont les pistes de collaboration entre les États de l'Union africaine avec les OEC, en particulier ceux qui interviennent dans le domaine de la santé reproductive, droits sexuels et reproductifs. Donc, vous me connaissez, inutile de me présenter, donc je suis le rapporteur spécial sur la santé, je suis le rapporteur du comité, je suis membre du bureau exécutif du comité qui est constitué de 3 personnes, le président, vice-président et le rapporteur que je suis. Donc, je suis en même temps le rapporteur spécial sur la santé, le bien-être et le développement de l'enfant. En même temps, je suis rapporteur pays pour l'Algérie, le Comore, le Royaume du Maroc, l'Arabie, la République arabe sahraoui démocratique et la République de la Tunisie. Ça veut dire que quand il y a des violations des droits de l'enfant dans ces pays, c'est à moi de venir faire une mission d'exploration, voir quelles sont les violations faites aux enfants dans ces pays respectifs. Diapo. Donc, comme vous le savez tous, on a des instruments assez importants au niveau de l'Union africaine qui œuvrent pour la promotion de la santé et des droits sexuels et reproductifs des adolescents en Afrique. On a la Charte africaine du bien-être et des droits et bien-être de l'enfant. On a la Charte africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples et son protocole des droits sur les femmes, qu'on appelle communément le protocole de Maputo. On a le cadre stratégique continentale de l'Union africaine pour la santé et les droits sexuels reproductifs que l'Union africaine a élaboré avec l'appui de l'INFPA, qui a un bureau au niveau de l'Union africaine, à Addis Abeba. Et on a le plan d'action de l'Union africaine pour la mise en œuvre du cadre de politique continentale sur la santé, pour la santé et les droits sexuels reproductifs. Et tous ces documents, on va vous le donner pour que vous en inspirez, pour que vous soyez en diapason avec ce que fait l'Afrique et comment on pourra ensemble faire avancer cette problématique assez importante qu'est la santé et la reproduction et les droits sexuels et reproductifs sur le continent. Donc, on a vu tous ces instruments. Malgré tous ces instruments que l'Afrique a mis en place, on a toujours des problèmes dans la plupart de nos États. On a des États africains qui ont des lois et des politiques restrictives qui limitent la capacité des adolescents à prendre des décisions et à accéder aux services de la santé sexuelle et reproductive. On a des pays où les besoins des adolescents ne sont même pas pris en compte. Et on l'a vu hier avec ces adolescents qui étaient là devant nous, qui donnent leur expérience, c'était émouvant. Il y a certains dont les yeux ont commencé à l'envoyer à cause de ces problèmes que rencontrent nos jeunes au niveau de nos pays africains. Et même les besoins des enfants sont sous-estimés. Certes que nos adolescents hier n'ont pas rentré dans les détails, mais tous ces problèmes, on les rencontre aujourd'hui. Diapo. Donc, malgré tout ce arsenal juridique régional, on a toujours un manque d'accès aux services de la santé sexuelle et reproductive et la non-mise en œuvre des politiques qui empêchent la jouissance d'autres droits. Vous savez, si l'adolescent a des problèmes de santé, il sera empêché d'avoir d'autres droits que la charte africaine de l'enfant lui donne, tels que l'éducation, les loisirs, la récréation, le bien-être et la non-discrimination, entre autres. Hier, on l'a vu dans l'exemple de nos adolescents. Les jeunes ont rejoint l'école rapidement, mais la fille qui allaitait, elle avait des problèmes pour ne pas aller à l'école, prendre en charge l'enfant, l'allaiter, prendre en charge ses soins. Tout ceci, aujourd'hui, nous amène ensemble à réfléchir sur des pistes de solutions. Le comité d'experts, attention, retourne un peu, retourne. Le comité d'experts et le bien de l'enfant reconnaît en particulier que les adolescents qui vivent en situation de vulnérabilité doivent être pris en compte. Comme on l'a dit hier, il y a les enfants dans les crises humanitaires, il y a les enfants dans les zones de conflit, il y a les enfants dans les zones de tension et de troubles, il y a les enfants de la rue, et il y a les enfants qui sont plus vulnérables, c'est les enfants handicapés, les adolescents handicapés. En plus de handicap, quand ils ont des problèmes de grossesse, ça devient plus difficile. Donc, toutes ces populations, on doit les prendre en compte dans tout ce que l'on fait ultérieurement. Merci. Donc, aujourd'hui, le comité des experts sur le droit et bien-être de l'enfant et le contact entre les OSC et les États. Donc, on vient un jalon de communication entre les États et la société civile. D'où l'intérêt aujourd'hui, comme je vous ai dit, que l'Aphrc doit avoir ce statut d'observateur auprès du comité. On va les entendre. Tout ce que vous avez dit aujourd'hui, quand vous avez le statut d'observateur, on va vous entendre. Vous avez droit à la parole, même si c'est 2 minutes, vous parlez de ce que vous avez rencontré dans vos études, dans vos recherches, et pourquoi les choses n'avancent pas. On a, comme hier, moi je viens de la Mauritanie, quand j'ai entendu les problèmes du Malawi, les problèmes du Kenya, les problèmes du Burkina Faso, on dirait qu'ils étaient en Mauritanie. C'est les mêmes problématiques, c'est les mêmes défis. Donc, comme l'a dit Boniface, on doit continuer la réflexion et trouver des solutions à l'avenir. Donc, comme je l'ai dit, le comité a fait un travail assez important pour faire avancer le droit des adolescents en matière de santé de la reproduction, droits sexuels et reproductifs. On a fait des observations. On va le voir en détail. On a fait une observation sur l'article 22, sur l'exploitation sexuelle des enfants au niveau de l'Internet. La cybercriminalité, les enfants la subissent. Les adolescents sont exploités par l'Internet. Il faut qu'on réfléchisse à cette problématique avec la croissance de l'Internet. Aujourd'hui, l'Internet joue un rôle important dans l'exploitation des adolescentes en milieu l'Internet. On a fait une observation sur les mutilations génitales féminines. On a fait une observation conjointe avec la Commission de l'Union africaine. On va voir sur les mariages des enfants. Ça pose problème, comme vous l'avez dit, souligné ce matin. Une fille qui tombe enceinte, nous sommes obligés de la marier pour démystifier ce mal que la fille a subi. Cette grossesse indésirée, la famille se concerte pour la donner en mariage. En tant que fille, ça pose d'autres problèmes. Et je vous dis que les professionnels de la santé à Mauritanie ont fait une déclaration pour montrer les méfaits des mariages des enfants. L'utérus n'est pas très complet pour recevoir l'enfant. La femme peut avoir des problèmes tels que les fistules obstétricales. La femme peut avoir d'autres problèmes qui sont inhérentes au mariage des enfants. On a fait des études continentales, on va les voir. On a eu des lignes directrices et on a eu des mécanismes spéciaux, nationaux et thématiques de groupes de travail. Au niveau du comité aujourd'hui, on a des groupes thématiques qui travaillent sur des thèmes spéciaux. On a un thème sur le mariage des enfants, les MGF et les grossesses. On a des lignes qui vont vous aider à faire avancer sur cette problématique. Donc,
Honorable, if you could wrap up in 3 minutes, that would be much appreciated.
Donc, on va partir rapidement. Les observations générales, comme je l'ai dit, entre la communauté, c'est sur, sur les droits sexuels, et surtout pour les filles menacées et affectées par la maladie des enfants. On a une observation conjointe sur les mutations génitales, et on a une journée générale de discussion sur la santé et les droits sexuels et reproductifs des adolescents. Lors de notre 35e session, on a eu un débat très chaud sur cette problématique. Et le goulot d'étranglement, c'est la légalisation de l'avortement. Ça pose problème et les pays africains divergent sur l'application de cet avortement. Et il est important, et je le souligne, que les chefs religieux coutumiers ont un rôle en avis à dire sur cette question. On a une étude sur l'impact de Covid. Tous, on l'a dit hier, depuis hier aujourd'hui, on a dit que l'impact de Covid a impacté la recrudescence des grossesses des adolescentes. Il a impacté le mariage des enfants. Il a impacté les violences faites aux adolescentes en milieu. L'étude continentale sur les grossesses, comme je l'ai dit, en Afrique, elle est en cours d'être validée par le comité. Et on a ciblé 4 zones de l'Afrique. L'Afrique de l'Est, on a pris le Niger et le Mali. L'Afrique centrale, le Tchad et la République centrafricaine. En Afrique du Nord, on a pris l'Égypte et la Mauritanie. Et en Afrique du Sud, on a pris le Malawi et le Mozambique. Et en Afrique de l'Est, on a pris la Tanzanie et l'Ouganda. En tout cas, cette étude va nous donner une cartographie des grossesses des adolescentes et ça pourra aider l'Aphrc à réfléchir, à prendre les résultats de cette étude. Donc, il y a l'agenda 2040. C'est l'agenda où nous voulons l'Afrique, des enfants dignes. Nous tous, aujourd'hui, on veut que nos enfants aient accès à l'éducation, ils s'émarient tranquillement, ils aient les enfants, ils s'épanouissent en milieu familial. Donc, cet agenda 2040, avec 10 aspirations, donne des orientations aux pays africains. Les objectifs de l'agenda 2040, c'est restaurer la dignité de l'enfant africain en évaluant les réalisations et les défis rencontrés pour la mise en œuvre de la charte, établir des stratégies à long terme qui contribuent à soutenir et à protéger les droits des enfants en Afrique et élargir des objectifs importants dans les domaines priorités des États membres respectifs de l'Union africaine qui doivent s'engager avant 2040. Nous tous, on doit être présents, même les OSC. Allez-y. Donc, voilà, voici l'important de notre rencontre aujourd'hui. Comment tous on pourra collaborer pour faire avancer cette problématique. Quel est le rôle que doivent jouer les organisations des instituts civils, les universités, les centres de recherche? On doit nous tous élaborer, on doit accompagner les États, comme vous l'avez fait au Malawi, comme vous l'avez fait au Burkina Faso. Le centre doit accompagner les États à faire des politiques et des lois pour promouvoir la santé des enfants.
Thank you. If we could do one more minute.
Yes, 1 minute.
Okay.
Yes. Vous devrez adopter des lois, élaborer des politiques et intégrer une éducation complète, comme on l'a dit ce matin, à l'éducation sexuelle et reproductive. Adaptée à l'âge scientifiquement exact sur la santé, droit et sexuel et reproductif dans les écoles, et à fournir également une éducation sur la santé sexuelle aux adolescents non scolarisés en utilisant d'autres plateformes. On a des enfants non scolarisés, on a des enfants qui ne peuvent pas déchiffrer les lettres. Il faut chercher d'autres ici pour les sensibiliser. Donc, le comité adresse ses sincères remerciements au Centre africain de recherche sur la santé et la population.
Endeavor implementing interventions to address teenage pregnancy. I also bring you greetings from our senior management team from the Ministry of Health. So quickly we can look at our background. The presentation will look at some situational analysis. We'll also look at key policy framework that will support the implementation of sexual reproductive health and rights, and also look at key adolescent sexual reproductive health rights program initiatives. We'll talk about some bottlenecks and controversial issues. We'll look at our key achievements and how can we move forward. Next slide, please. Liberia have a very youthful population. We have 63% of our population are youth that are less than 25 years. And this is according to our 2019-2020 Health Demographic Survey. The age of consent in Liberia is 18 years. To be able to make decisions, you must be 18 years and above. For adolescents, we consider age 10 and less than 18 years. So once you are 10 to 17 years, we consider you to be an adolescent. The fertility rate is now 4.2, according to our recent survey that was done. We also want to look at our MCPR, it's now 24%. We have an increasement as compared to the 2013 demographic health survey that was done, which was at 20%. Our unmet need for family planning has increased slightly. 2013, we were at 31%, and now we are talking about 33%. Unmet need for family planning for women, we are looking at the adolescent aspect. The next slide. Okay, for adolescent age of 15 to 19 years is 47%. We want to look at our teenage pregnancy. Our teenage pregnancy is 31% in 2013, and for the recent one is 30%. So for this one, we made a late gain in this, we decreased by 1%. For current contraceptive use, especially for married women, we are at 24%. And for those who are sexually active and unmarried, where our adolescent play is 45%. We also make a gain in our maternal mortality. 2013 was at 1072, but the recent survey, we are at 742 per every 100,000 live birth. Neonatal mortality rate. This we also need to do a late improvement. 2013 survey, we're at 26, but for this recent one, we have 37%. Next slide. Now, we want to look at policy or guidance or to address teenage pregnancy. We have our public health law. This law has been in existence since 1976. We are talking about 40 years in existence. The law was revised in 2019 to address new emerging public health challenges. And this was also done along with all our donors, our partners, our stakeholders were also involved. We had a lot of consultative meetings to revise the law. And gratefully for us, we have a whole chapter in this law that talks about sexual reproductive health and rights, to include family planning. We are talking about chapter 48. And presently, this law since 2019 was revised, has not been passed. The passage of the law is still pending. There are a lot of discussions that have been ongoing. It's presently at the level of the legislature, and we are reviewing and we are discussing. And this law, actually, there are some controversial issues for which the law has not been passed. Looking at family planning, we are talking about teenage family planning. The amendment portion of the law is saying that once the child, the adolescent from 10 to 17 years, once they are actively and sexually active, rather, should have access to family planning. As compared to the old law, was saying only the age of consent. So because of this, the representatives, they are still looking at this and discussing and looking at the age taken into consideration. Since the law is actually saying age of consent is 18, then now you are coming to say from 10 years to 17 should have access to family planning. But the same law also says that all individuals have the right to decide on the sexual activities. So these are the controversial issues. We also have some other issues, but for the purpose of this workshop, we did not mention it because we are strictly to adolescent and teen pregnancy. We also have our National Adolescent Empowerment Strategy for 2017 to 2022. And this strategy documents address health needs for adolescents and young people. In this strategy document, they have a section on sexuality education, reduction of teenage pregnancy, and also prevention of unwanted pregnancy and sexual transmitted diseases. Next slide, please. We also have our cluster implementation plan for family planning. And this we are looking at from 2018 to 2022. This is a detailed strategy plan that have all interventions, activities, and they are also costed to address the national family planning agenda. In this strategy document, there is portion on advocacy to a roadmap, also increase the MCPR rate and reduce teenage pregnancy and unsafe abortion, and also prevent unwanted pregnancy. We also have another policy document that look at the comprehensive abortion care guidelines. Adolescents are getting pregnant, and we all know the issues surrounding the pregnancy, and because of that, they tend to abort, and this law is saying that once they have abortion, it either be safe or unsafe. But once they have abortion, they should have, the services should be provided to them. And there's an evidence-based best practice program that looks at both clinical and program delivery. So we are looking at safe abortion or post-abortion care. Then we also have the National Community Health Policy Services. This document is actually focusing on interventions at the community level. Community engagement and participation is very key. Community support is very key. Health promotion is also a part. Looking at community health care, their roles and responsibilities. We have our CHVs. We have our TTMs. They are all part of the health workforce in the community. So those actors, they are very key. We brought them on board because they are also providing sexual reproductive health and rights in the community. We also look at household coverage, the supply chain issue, supervision, policy framework, and service integration at the level of the community.
Okay, you have around 3 minutes.
Okay, then we want to look at ongoing initiative. We have our CSE. We have all been talking about CSE since we started yesterday. And this initiative provides information about poverty, reproduction, abstinence, family health program values, and sexual violence prevention and body images. So it was tested in 2019 and have been incorporated into our school curriculum, looking at all levels, the primary, secondary, and tertiary. We also have the curriculum development, and teachers were trained as well as parents, because this is a holistic approach to be able to implement this guidelines successfully. We must have all actors involved, the parents, the teachers, and the PTA association in the school. Peer-to-peer education is also encouraged, looking at in school and out of school. Then we also have establishment of school clubs, both at the level of the school and the communities. We have another initiative, is our youth-friendly centers. These provide sexual reproductive health services and have been integrated into existing health facilities. So where we have the health facilities, we have these youth-friendly centers where we have nurses and social workers providing reproductive health services to our adolescents. We also have our one-stop centers, and there we do medical examination and treatment, psychosocial counseling, protection. We enforce the law, and we provide legal guidance to the perpetrator, to the survivor and the family. And in Liberia, we have 12 of these one-stop centers. Out of the 15 counties, they are in 7 counties. And we also conduct general mainstreaming training. CSO involvement in the FP 2030 commitment. Liberia was part of the 2020 commitment, and now country is supposed to recommit. So Liberia is also a part, and all of the 19 countries we are a part, and adolescents and young people and CSO as well are involved in the decision, and also consultation meetings are being held and discussion is ongoing. Next. We also have our coordination platform, which is very key, and those are the different coordination platforms where we discuss sexual reproductive health and rights to include the prevention of family planning to adolescents. For our upcoming activities, we have our menstrual hygiene awareness, education, and it's going to be celebrated on May 28th. And we are going to have an advocacy meeting to actually create the awareness on the importance of menstrual health. And that's going to be done in all of the counties in Liberia with support from our partners and also from CSOs. We also have our Maternal Health and Nutrition Conference plan, and this is scheduled for the 28th and 29th of June. And this conference is going to be decentralized. All of the counties, the 15 counties, are going to have their separate conference, and it's going to be done simultaneously. And at this conference, they will discuss issues surrounding reproductive health. We're also introducing the DMPS sub-cube, which is the self-injectable. It's almost like the therapeutics or family planning commodity, and we are introducing self-injectable where the client themselves will give the injection. We call it a cyanide press.
1 minute to
so
go.
These are just key indicators. And for our fertility rate, looking at the different health demographic survey that was done, we can see that we are at 4.2%. So we are decreasing as we look from 2013 to 2020. Next one, please.
I hope it's the last slide.
Yeah, so when we look at the family planning coverage, we look at the demand on unmet needs, so you can see where we are, you can see the trend, and looking at the 2007, 2013, and 2019, 2020 survey, so you can see for all of the different family planning coverage and see where we are and where we improve and where we need to make improvements.
All right, thank you.
So I already talked about this. This is also looking at the trend in our infant, child, and under 5 mortality.
Mm-hmm. Sure. We'll definitely share these slides with, especially on the data, with the participants. I could give you 30 seconds to just say your final word with regards to your good practices and presentation. What would you say?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
If I could give you 30 seconds to be able to say the last part, especially on the way forward in terms of your engagement with civil society.
Okay, so seeing all of the different initiatives that we have and looking at our bottlenecks, Liberia, we don't have a separate budget in our national budget to support sexual reproductive health and rights. Our implementation is actually donor-driven and depends heavily on partner support. So CSO is very important because CSO run their own organization, they have their own funding. So most of the things that are said, CSO is also a part, especially for the penny or menstrual health. We are depending on CSO to do that. So CSO can see all of these things, and looking at our coordination platform, we are incorporating our CSOs. So we're really needing on board. And we know what CSO can do. They also help when it comes to advocacy. And right now, since 2019, we have been lobbying with our lawmakers, or policy makers to pass the law. And we need CSO to come on board to help us to do the advocacy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for such a detailed presentation. I think we have all discovered or known that there are a few things happening in Liberia. Some great achievements on the policy framework, if I may say. We've seen about the national health policy that I think is doing a lot of, it's covering a lot of work on what we are saying right here, teenage pregnancies, all those health initiatives needed for even the adolescents. And we've seen also a whole strategy on adolescent health. We've seen also, she's talked about a lot of opportunities upcoming in terms of the conference. Liberia is very keen on family planning. It's ensured that it's committed to ensure, to make sure that family planning is a priority, especially to reduce on unintended pregnancies, to reduce on unsafe abortions, to reduce on all that. Thank you so much, Suena. I know that the participants will be asking you a few questions for clarification towards the end of this particular session. And I would like to take the key from Suena, moving on to the neighboring country, which is Sierra Leone. And if you notice, we're seeing a lot of health initiatives that are very much tied to pregnancies, either unwanted, intended, or issues to do with safe abortion. But the ministries in the continent and everywhere in Africa remain one of the key stakeholders when we talk about girls' issues or adolescent issues, because you again are able to map out the specific issues that they face wholeheartedly, not just on health, on many other matters that they face, as the fact that their different roles are construed by communities, they are construed by the environments, and even the opportunities that we expose them to. And knowing the work that the Ministry of Gender is doing in Sierra Leone, we'd just like to understand, especially with respect to adolescent pregnancies, how has the ministry been involved in that, and what specific measures have you been able to take part in? We'd also want to hear if there's been any interministerial coordination and support with respect to ensuring that we address the issues of teenage pregnancies in Sierra Leone. Thank you, and over to you, Dr. Charles.
Okay. Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Sorry, good afternoon.
Just a moment, sir, before you go. You are requesting that the panelists wrap up within 15 minutes because time allocated for the session. So, Madam Facilitator, just manage that so that we wrap up this in 15 minutes. Over. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. If we could maintain our presentations to 8 minutes, that would be great.
I will do so. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon. I see some Sierra Leonean colleagues online as well. I have not applied in any university yet to do my PhD. I remain Charles Vandy. All right, so what I would like to do quickly is I will look at some country context, some normative frameworks, operational frameworks, and the current and ongoing initiatives by the ministry, and then involvement of CSOs. Next slide. So, government of Sierra Leone developed a national strategy for the reduction of teenage pregnancy in 2013. This was as a result of, we had elections in 2012. As the former president was moving around the country, he realized that there were a lot of teenagers pregnant. So we were urged to develop a strategy, which we worked on 2013, and that elapsed. So we have developed another one, which I'll come to shortly. But in the same 2013, Sierra Leone actually was among 10 countries with the highest rates of teenage pregnancy around the world. We had 13% of the pregnant girls already had birth from Statistics Sierra Leone. That was the data from Statistics Sierra Leone. We also saw Sierra Leone experienced Ebola outbreak in 2014. The slogan was, "Don't touch." But how come girls became pregnant when there was touching? So one of the things that came up actually was that UNFPA did a survey. They told us that 18,000 girls became pregnant during that Ebola outbreak. But we contested as government because our statistics was showing 14,000. But be that as it may, the number is still high. Globally, teenage mothers are twice as likely to die from childbirth. Most of the high maternal mortality rates that we experience are actually from girls whose physiology is not actually mature to carry pregnancies. So that is also something that is worrisome. Next slide. The other thing also is that teenage pregnancy is also cited as one of the leading causes of girls dropping out of school, impacting on livelihoods, limiting their socioeconomic opportunities for themselves and their families. And this has some high repercussions, as we had our teenagers in the room yesterday speaking to those issues. We also, in 2014, the government of Sierra Leone was dragged to ECOWAS court for not allowing pregnant girls to continue schooling. So that was also another issue that came up. And I can tell you, we worked with our civil society colleagues. We now have what we call the radical inclusion policy, that we now ensure that no girl is left behind. Pregnancy, no pregnancy or other sexual gender-based violence issues cannot stop you from schooling. We also saw the Hands of Our Girls launched by the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone. We had 8 First Ladies visiting Sierra Leone, and they all supported that particular initiative just to ensure that we keep our girls safe. Now, next slide. All right, so we also see that there is a nexus between child marriage and teenage pregnancy. Most of the people who become pregnant, they will now tell them to marry to people who impregnated them. So that is also something that we need to look at. Then the 2013 DHS indicated that 13% of girls are married before their 18th birthday, and 39% of the girls before their 18th birthday. Then the census data, 2015, actually projected that 40% of girls are married before their 18th birthday. Then also, like my sister spoke about the maternal mortality, in the 2015 data, we used to have 160 as per 100,000 live births, which is unacceptable. But I can tell you 2019 data is now showing 717 per 100,000 live births. So if we can go to the next slide, so that I save some time for my colleagues who have not spoken. So, in terms of the normative frameworks, we are a country that have signed to a lot of international and regional instruments, and all of those ones you see out there are documents that we have signed and ratified, and a good number of them, the reports have been prepared. We are working, Honorable Commissioner, the Maputo Protocol report will be ready, I'm sure, this year, before the end of the year. At the national level, we also have the Child Rights Act, the Registration of Customary Marriage and Divorce Act of